What's going on, UBL? It's your boy Token, and we are back with our Week 2 team builder against the Calgary Flame Wheels and their coach, Dubious. And Dubious is a person who's definitely been in the Pokemon scene for a while, and I was extremely excited to be able to battle against him, especially because he has a pretty scary team, mostly because of Auroraville. So that was actually my biggest concern going into this game. But quickly, if you guys enjoy the video, definitely smash the like button to show your support, as well as subscribe to the channel if you are new, so you don't miss out on any of our future videos going up. But yeah, Auroraville was my biggest concern going into this matchup against him, because he has very bulky offensive Pokemon like Manaphy, like Necrozma, like I guess to an extent like what's its face as well, Cobalion. So he has some threats that are already bulky in their own right that are still very offensive. So I was really concerned about stopping Auroraville from going up in this matchup. Looking at his, let's just go over his entire team. So his team is going to consist of Manaphy as a Z Pokemon and his first round pick, Necrozma next, Alolan Ninetales, Cobalion, Alolan Marowak, Flygon, Mega Pidgeot, Zoroark, Quillfish, Kecleon, and Tangela. So things that I noticed right off the bat, obviously Auroraville Ninetales, try our best to not allow that to go up, because then Necrozma and possibly even Manaphy, but definitely Necrozma, like Shazam aka Heliolisk, it deals with Manaphy pretty well even with an Auroraville up. So I wasn't super concerned about Manaphy, but Necrozma definitely gave me a scare, especially because I've never played against a Necrozma before. Especially not even in OU regular tiers, so especially in Draft League, I didn't really know what to expect, and I didn't really know how to calc its attacks against my team. I didn't know, like, what is he going to run, a more defensive one and then try to set up Sword Stance? Is he going to run a more special one and go for the Calm Mind Necrozma? There's a lot of different possibilities with Necrozma. It's a very versatile Pokemon and a very solid round 2 pick. So credit Dubious for that, as I feel like my lack of experience against it made it more of a headache to prepare for, especially in draft format. But yeah, so definitely don't want Necrozma to have an Auroraville up for itself. And then Cobalion has a pretty decent matchup against my team as well. Consider that fighting still typing means that Wanda aka Caflable isn't a switch in, so like Medusa is like my switch in into Cobalion, or the Pokemon that you're staring at right now in Orchid. So let's just hop into my team against him. Oh, and obviously Mega Pidgeot is a fast, scary Pokemon. And then Zoroark is also a Pokemon that, considering it has that ability that allows it to disguise itself as a different Pokemon, that can be a huge headache as well. So I was very concerned with Zoroark as well. And then Flygon, I was expecting it to come, and I knew it was going to be Scarf. I was just I know it's going to be Scarf because of the fact that fast ground types against my team have a good matchup, and then Flygon just typically runs Scarf well in general. So I had a high hunch that Flygon was going to be Scarf. But alright, let's just hop into my team against my opponent. So first you do see Orchid aka Lurantis on your screen, and this is the first time we're bringing Lurantis. Didn't bring it last week, we're bringing it this time. Lurantis' item is going to be a Yachi Berry. The huge reasoning I was thinking behind that was I want to, if my opponent thinks they're going to knock me out with an Ice type move on my Lurantis, with their Manaphy, with their Alolan Ninetales, with not too many other things, but both of those two, I wanted to be able to live the Ice Beam and then knock out with either a superpower if I've already had the boost on Ninetales, or with a Petal Dance on the Manaphy if it's already taking just a little bit of chip. So that's what I was thinking with Lurantis. Overall though, I mainly just needed it to be a pretty decent defensive Pokemon for the team, with its typing that allows it to resist Flygon's ground spam. It allows it to resist trying to think of what else was a huge water type moves for Manaphy, and just a few other things. So mainly just disallowing ground spam is the main reason I brought Lurantis as our defensive threat over Steelix this week. Obviously ability and contrary, so that when I go for superpower, instead of lowering my attack and defense, it rises my attack and defense, which is a really cool ability, and I was hoping to use that well. And I'm hoping to use that well. What else do we got here? We got Petal Dance, Pedal Dance for stab and just to do good damage. Knockoff so that I can hit the so I can knock off items. Knockoff is just a good move in general. I've already went over this, but also if like a Alolan Marowak wants to come in and switch on me, and definitely if I've already gotten the boost, Knockoff can do some good damage to Necrozma as well, as long as the Roarville isn't up. And then Synthesis for reliable recovery. The EV spread has a lot of things going on. I mainly want it to be faster than a like speed creeping Alolan Marowak. So that's why you see 44 in speed. You see 180 in defense. It allows me to take a decent bit of hits really well. 244 in HP just to maximize bulk as much as I felt needed. And then 36 in attacks to still be not super passive offensively. So that's going to be Orchid. Next we do have Shazam, aka Heliolisk. And Shazam in this game had a pretty good matchup. My biggest concern was mainly Flygon, but switching in Flygon on anything, considering its ferality, it's kind of hard to do. And overall, the ability of Dry Skin on a team that has a Manaphy just looks really nice. So I like that a lot. And yeah, so Heliolisk, I had to run, I'm just going to go over the EV spread really quickly. I had to run a very standard EV spread of 252, Timid Nature, 252, and Special Attack, because Heliolisk only outspeeds Cobalion by 1 point. Cobalion has a 108 base speed, and Heliolisk has a 109 base speed, so I had to fully invest in speed if I want to outspeed a non-Scarf Cobalion, and I didn't expect it to be Scarf. The Scarf user I was anticipating was Flygon, so I knew that putting those EVs in speed would be worthwhile. But anyways, Heliolisk is going to have an item of Life Orb. Once again, the ability of Dry Skin, which is really nice against Manaphy. Thunderbolt, Volt Switch, Surf, and Glare. With the Life Orb, I can do tons of damage to a lot of Pokemon. My opponent's team really isn't the absolute fastest, and then Surf gives me a way of hitting the Alolan Marowak if it tries to switch in, or if it tries to just stay in on my Heliolisk. We can get off that really good Surf on it, considering that it does get Lightning Rod, but it's still a fire type, so Surf would do heaps of damage. More than likely knock it out depending on investment, unless it was really bulky. And then I put Glare as the last move just because I didn't really see, Hyper Voice as a necessary move, and overall, I just wasn't seeing any necessary Forethought coverage move that I really needed. So I instead put Glare just in case Dubious wanted to switch in a Scarf Flygon at any point on my Heliolisk. I can hopefully go for a Glare, and then if I'm able to hinder or pretty much cripple Flygon's speed stat while it's Scarf, it's completely useless at that point. So I was hoping that I could maybe get one of those off, and then lastly, Glare's just good for a more accurate form of speed control with paralysis. So that's Heliolisk. Next is going to be Medusa, aka Tentacruel. Tentacruel is going to be holding the Black Sludge for reliable recovery like usual. Clear Body, not really that too useful, but then a move pool of Sludge Bomb, Giga Drain, Ice Beam, and Toxic Spikes. The reason I ran Ice Beam was just in case I was in a 1v1 with Flygon, and Flygon wanted to prioritize getting up rocks, thinking that I would be afraid of its EQ and just switch out. So I wanted to have Ice Beam just in case I could maybe knock out the Flygon in a 1v1 situation. And it was actually also for the Mega Pidgeot, because I don't it's actually also for the Mega Pidgeot because I don't have the best answers to that. Not a lot that wants to defensively take a Hurricane and also have a chance of getting confused. Tentacruel is going to have one of my best, if not, yeah, one of my best, because of Goodra. It's going to have one of my best special defense stats on the entire team. And that's why I'm fully invested in special defense, 252, so that I can take a Hurricane really well and then do lots of damage back with an Ice Beam against the Mega Pidgeot. It still doesn't do as much as I would like, but good enough damage. Toxic Spikes, because I really wanted to wear down my opponent's team with poison, and then kind of use the rest of the team to kind of sweep again. Trying to go for generally the same type of game plan, in a sense, the same type of game plan as in Game 1 against SareneGrace and her Chicago Shaymin Sky. And then Sludge Bomb for the Alolan Ninetales, and obviously because Tentacruel takes on Alolan Ninetales beautifully, as long as it doesn't get like frozen or something. and then Giga Drain for the mana feed, so that Tentacle can actually take on mana feed decently well as well. So Tentacle actually doesn't have the worst matchup. It can do a lot of different things in this game, and we're rocking out with a EV spread that is fully invested in special defense to take on the Mega Pidgeot as best as possible, and to take Blizzards from like Ninetales decently well, just all that good stuff, and whatever mana feed wants to go for, take that as well. So it's my special defensive wall practically, in a sense. 92 in speed. I can't remember what did this outspeed. What did I want 92 EVs to outspeed? I cannot remember for the life of me what that was for. It's not for Manaphy, because Manaphy's 100. Maybe for the Zoroark? That's the only thing I can think that 92 EVs in speed would do for me. 124 in special attack with a modest nature allows Ice Beam to do enough damage, I think, to be a 2-hit KO. It may still be a roll depending on the EV spread, but I think it was to get a 2-hit KO with Ice Beam on Mega Pidgeot. And then 36 in HP just to maximize bulk a tad bit more. So that's Tentacruel, that's Medusa. Next we do have Pandora, aka Mega Absol, obviously holding the Absolite and the ability of Magic Bounce with a move pool of Knockoff, Sucker Punch, Superpower, and Swords Dance. Mega Absol after pretty much Mega Absol, not even after anything. Mega Absol was one of my huge keys to winning this game, because if I could get a Swords Dance up, there's not a lot that can take the hits that Mega Absol can dish out, as Superpower will after a Swords Dance, I think even at -1 it does OHKO Cobalion. Sucker Punch at +2 does hit, I think it OHKOs Pidgeot. We can OHKO Flygon at +2 at that point. There's a lot of damage we need to do, and that's why stopping Auroraville is huge, so that Mega Absol can actually adequately sweep. A huge concern is Colbur Berry, Necrozma, and then just running some type of offensive enough move to knock out Mega Absol, considering it is extremely frail, so it can be kind of hard to play around Colbur Berry sometimes, as you think you can kind of just knock out a Dark Weak Pokemon, but then they can just be Colbur, reduce the damage that they take from the super effective Dark type move, and then they proceed to knock out Mega Absol, just because it's so frail. But I think we can still play around that, and I'm trying to think. Obviously, Knockoff is really good as well. But yeah, Swords Dance. I want to Swords Dance up at an opportune time, and then just try to either really dent my opponent's team so that the rest of the team can clean up, or to win the game with Mega Absol. Just we definitely need Necrozma to be a little weakened if possible. And I'm trying to think, maybe Manaphy a little weakened as well before we go for that. But other than those two, Mega Absol takes on pretty much everything else once it's at +2, and that can be GG. So the EV spread I chose to run is 212 with a Jolly Nature, 212 in speed with a Jolly Nature. That allows me to outspeed everything on my opponent's on my opponent's team, barring Scarfs, other than Mega Pidgeot. But I didn't see outspeeding Mega Pidgeot as well, obviously I can't outspeed Mega Pidgeot, it's too fast, so I didn't see that as something that'd be worth my time. So Swords Dance, Sucker Punch, that's the way we'll still be able to knock out Mega Pidgeot. 252 in attack to maximize the attack stat as much as possible. 36 in defense to maybe take a defensive hit, maybe like a Scarf Setter's EQ or something, U-turn and not die from it. Take that a decent bit better. And then the rest of the EVs were 4 was dumped in HP and 4 was dumped in special attack. But that is Mega Absol relying heavily on its offensive pressure to win this game, to win this week. Next we do have Victini. Victini this week is going to be Scarf, obviously with the ability of Victory Star, and then a move pool of V-Crate, Bolt Strike, U-turn, and Taunt. So to explain my thought process behind Taunt, I saw maybe a Sash Ninetales lead as a possible easy lead. I knew that also, what is that item called? What is it called? What is the item that extends your light screen and reflect? Light Clay. I knew Light Clay was also a very optimal item that my opponent could choose to run on a low end Ninetales, but I really didn't want Auroraville to get up, especially early on in the game, and then my team kind of just get weakened very early on and make it hard on me to have answers for stuff later in the game. So I thought Scarf Taunt would stop a Focus Sash along Ninetales from leading, being like, okay, I'll trade my Focus Sash and be at 1 HP if that means that I can get my Auroraville up. So I kind of wanted to avoid that. In a sense, it may not be the smartest thing, just because of the fact that if if my opponent makes that trade-off, it may not be the best, considering that I can set up things like Toxic Spice and Stealth Rocks later in the game. And without it being light clay, the Aurorville turns can be decently stalled by my team. So maybe not the smartest choice, but I really didn't see a third option move that I really needed. I guess I could have went with Hidden Power Ice or something for the Flygon. But I thought I had other ways. I think I have other ways to deal with Flygon. So I think we can play around Flygon decently well. But anyways, the Victini's EV spread is going to be 252 in attack with an Adamant Nature to hit as hard as possible or V-Create and Bolt Strike and even U-Turn as well. And I definitely wanted a fast Pokemon with Switch Initiative in this game. I thought that would be crucial towards keeping momentum on my end of the game. 76 in speed was all I needed to outspeed everything on my opponent's team with the Choice Scarf. 20 in special defense just to have a little bit more bulk to live some hits. There's one hit that I live now with the special defense EVs. 44 in defense to bulk out defensive hits more, and then 116 in HP just to maximize both bulks as much as I possibly could with the HP stat as well. So that's going to be Victini, or Vigilant, aka Victini. And then last is going to be Wanda, aka Clefable. But Clefable is going to be a very crucial member of the team in this game. Once again, Clefable is going to have the ability of Unaware, which is going to allow me to stay in on a lot of my opponent's setters, because obviously Manaphy can go for a Tail Glow. I don't want Tail Glow to just outright win my opponent the game. Unaware Clefable stops that. Necrozma can go for Calm Minds, or Necrozma can go for Swords Dance. Unaware Clefable, once again, it's unaware that anything was set up, so it doesn't go into effect against Clefable in particular. I'm trying to think, is there any other setter? No, those are the main two that I really didn't want getting set up and kind of denting my team. So Unaware Clefable was something at the start of my team building I knew was going to be added on to the team at some point. Just so happened it ended up being the last edition. Leftovers for Residual Recovery. Then a Moopool of... Oops, I almost knocked my mic over. A Moopool of Moonblast, Stealth Rocks, Wish, and Protect. So the EV spread is going to be 60 in defense with a Bold Nature. This allows me to take physical hits a lot better, especially ones from Necrozma. I didn't know how much to calc the physical hits from Necrozma, but that's as far as I went. It allows me to take them really well. 252 in HP to maximize the bulk through both defenses, and then 196 in special defense to also be able to take special defensive hits really well as well, like Ninetales Blizzards and other attacks like that. And then Moonblast still does good damage even uninvested. I wanted Stealth Rocks on something. We're not bringing Stillick, so I'm bringing it on Clefable. And then Wish Protect so that we can keep Clefable healthy and hopefully other members of our team possibly healthy as well. But that is going to be the team going against the Calgary Flame Wheels for week 2 of the Ultimate Battle League. So I'm hoping we can definitely get a win, as we really want to bounce back from last week. Either way though, I actually have put in motion some transactions for our team that unfortunately won't go into effect until week 4. Because I didn't put those transactions through until after the battle had been played, after me and Dubious had already played our battle, because I'm actually recording this after our battle had been played. So yeah, so there's that. Hopefully though, hopefully we can we can bounce back this week, and then in week 3 also maybe have a good effort as well, so that when we get our new team, we're not already, or when we get our new additions, we're not already in a pretty big hole. But I appreciate you guys watching. That's going to be the team. Hopefully it leads us to a win. We're relying on Pandora very heavily in this matchup, but I feel like Pandora can lead us to a victory. And I'll just have to play well and try to avoid mistakes as much as possible, because this team really doesn't allow many mistakes to be made. So try to avoid any bad reads, bad mistakes as much as possible, and try to stay one step ahead of my opponent as much as I can. But it'll be fun to play Dubious, and his team is really cool. So good luck to your Southwest Survivors. Let's see if we can get back on the winning side of this week and end up at 1-1, or will we be 0-2 and kind of a bottom dweller. We'll see where we're at then. But for now, peace.